Thank you, Danny. Thank you, Jeremiah. Well, hi everyone. Welcome to Lifeline. Hello. If you don't know, my name is Elizabeth. You didn't know? Oh man. As you guys were just told, I am Jeremiah's sister.
Hi, Jeremiah's sister.
Hi, Jenna.
Hello,
What's up?
Olivia.
Hey, what's up? Oh, yeah, that's funny. Anywho, well, if you guys haven't seen me here very often, I actually don't live in Florida, for those of you who may not know that. I know, believe it or not. Boo.
You're lucky.
Thank you. I actually live in Pennsylvania, which around this time we would start wearing sweaters, and I know you guys don't really believe in that thing. But I live in Pennsylvania, and besides the weather difference, there are a few other differences. The people down there aren't as nice as the people over here, it would seem. True that. Thank you. And I constantly kind of wonder, like, why am I here? You know, why am I up in Pennsylvania? All my siblings are down in Florida. And when I say why am I here, I'm not talking existentially. I do understand that my purpose on this world is to give glory to Jesus. Just putting that one out there. But why am I physically in Pennsylvania? Why haven't I moved yet? And I started thinking about this, and it made me think on the Lord's timing. And I came to realize that there are all different seasons in our lives. And I'm talking more than just winter, spring, summer, fall, which you guys only really have, was it spring and summer down here?
Just summer.
Just summer? Okay.
Just thunderstorms and
That sounds about right. Well, and on that topic of all the seasons, actually, if you guys, since Jeremiah and Danny are so kind to pass out Bibles, would like to open up to Ecclesiastes 3. Ooh. Yes, we are. Do the thing. You don't have Ecclesiastes.
It says 3.
3. So I'm going to be reading 1 through 8, which is actually one of my favorite parts of the Bible. Now I'm reading off the King James Version, which you guys may not know what everything means, okay? So just try to follow along. No, I'm just joking. That's not the Anywho. Okay, so to everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under the heaven. A time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant, a time to pluck up that which is planted, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to break down and a time to build up, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance, a time to cast away stones and a time to gather stones together, a time to embrace, a time to refrain from embracing, a time to get and a time to lose, a time to keep and a time to cast away, a time to rend and a time to sow, a time to keep silent and a time to speak, a time to love and a time to hate, a time of war and a time of peace. And I really love that scripture for many different reasons. But it makes me think, when I do feel anxious about where my life is heading, I remember the Lord has a plan for me. You know, and He knows the direction my life is going. That doesn't mean that things aren't going to happen, because life is life, and life will go on. And I believe that everything does happen for a reason. And maybe we're just not meant to know what that reason is. You know, when I think about each of our lives, I think of this mural, this huge picture that the Lord is painting for us. And we just see one little shadow in the corner, and we think, wow, this sucks. Like, it's black, it's dark. Like, and we think, like, Lord, why? But then we realize that there's this whole other thing that He's creating that we don't even know. Actually, this summer in particular was very difficult for me, getting more into my personal life. I had a friend and a coworker who actually passed away, which was very difficult. And the main thing, it was just hard because, like it said in Ecclesiastes, there's a time to weep, a time to laugh, a time to mourn, and a time to dance. And the main point I want to preface before saying this is, I do not believe the Lord took my friend or was vindictive in doing that or was evil or that He takes lives and came to destroy, because He gives life and He is life. So I just want that to be known. And it was kind of a time of sackcloth and ash, you know. or basically mourning, sadness. And the very question is kind of like, why would something like that happen? She was just about to turn 25, and so somebody so young, and I just think, why does stuff like that happen? And I just realized that a new season is coming. That maybe the summer was a time of mourning and depression, but that doesn't mean we sit in the mourning, we sit in the depression. We have to rise above that. And the Lord is there to help you through that, and He's there to help you when you're ready to step out of that. Then I know that a new season is coming, and it is October 1st, and I don't just mean Spooktober or whatever, spooky season, and I don't mean the sweaters and the pumpkin spice lattes. The Lord is getting ready to move here in Brevard, up in Pennsylvania, this whole world. But He's getting ready to move in each one of your lives too. He's looking for opportunities to use you. And the main thing you have to do is just accept Jesus as your Lord and Savior. And I assume most of us have done that. And once you do that, you then have a relationship with Him. And I know the word relationship kind of bums some people out, so I'm going to say the word friendship. So if we had a friendship with the Lord, right? What would you do? If you had a friend, you make time for them. If you guys have friends. Your friends that you do have. You make time for your friends. You put their interests first. So make time for the Lord, And that's more than just waking up, praying, go to bed, pray, read scripture of the Bible. All right, we're good. No. Last week, Ian was up here, actually. And Ian said, we have to keep ourselves fixed on the Lord, just in His presence, because if you don't, then you're going to get sidetracked and you're going to get distracted. And I thought, that's sometimes hard to do, and something against Ian, I totally am 100% with what he said. But then I realized the way to do that is you surround yourself in His presence and with like-minded people. So everyone, even all of us here right now, this is what we're doing, Thank you. And if the Lord is your friend, then you have to include Him in your life. You can't just pick and choose pieces when you want to see Him, when you want to be with Him. He can't just be a part of your life. He has to be your entire life. And that being said, I'm not going to stand up here and be like, I got it, guys. I am embodying Christ. Obviously not doing that either, but I'm not, the perfect human being. I struggle with a lot of this kind of stuff. But I'm realizing that I am where I am for a purpose. In Pennsylvania, in my own personal life with everything happening with my friend, and even right now, talking to you guys, I'm here for a purpose. And that idea of the Lord's timing, that gives me personally some solace and some peace. And the fact that, maybe I shouldn't live in a constant state of anxiety. Maybe I don't have to constantly be worrying about the next move, because maybe the Lord has it all planned out. And that's why it's so important to have a relationship with Him. And many people don't really understand the benefits of it, I don't think, because I think, obviously Jesus is great, but He is the one thing in this entire world, the only thing, more than just the world, the only entity or anything that will suffice in your life. Because your friends won't, your significant others won't. When you're sad and you go partying and you do drugs or you go drinking and sex and porn, that's not gonna cover it. You're still gonna feel empty, you're still gonna feel alone, if that's what you feel. And we try to feel this inclusion in all the wrong ways, because that's what society sells to us. The idea that this will make you happy. I actually remember, if you guys go to East Coast's Mezzanine, Pastor David Gammon, he said, if we all just did whatever we wanted to do that would make us happy, we all would be going to McDonald's getting Big Macs, and we'd all be obese. So you can't just do what makes you happy, because happiness is temporary and joy is everlasting. Yeah. And that's the thing you guys gotta remember. So please, I urge you all to remember that the Lord is the only thing that will suffice. And I remember saying that in my life, I want to only be dependent on Jesus, because He is the only thing in existence that is truly 100% independent. Where people fail, there's human nature, they will not always suffice the way He will. So know him, know who you are, but know who you are as a Christian. Know who you are in Jesus. And also, it has been on my heart just to talk about the fact of how precious each of us is to the Lord. And I think a lot of people don't really see that. And I struggle with it a lot too, because I think, how can an entity so powerful love me, which will never be as powerful, will never be perfect, will always consistently let him down? But then I remember Jesus hung out with sinners. He ate with them. And the crazy thing to me is, I think about it, and I think Jesus had a choice. You know, he chose to die on that cross. You know, and that's like, could we honestly make that decision? That's the whole embodiment of love. You know, God is love. I think it's in somewhere. I'm not sure. Romans, maybe? Anyway. But God is love. And the fact that he had a choice and he chose to be crucified literally for me, for Elizabeth Anderson, for Jeremiah Anderson, for, I don't know any of your last names, Bernard Powell. There you go. For each and every one of you, uniquely. We go back to that mural I was talking about. If there's 7 billion people on this world, he's taken the time to paint and illustrate a whole mural of your life, of what you can do, because each of us are unique and different and special, and he made us that way, and he wants us to never stop expressing that, but do it for him, because he's proud of us. 1 John 4:19, you guys don't have to flip to it, it's okay, but it says, we love him because he first loved us. You know, so appreciate yourself. Love yourself. See that you are worthy despite your sin, because sin dies when you go to Jesus. Because he loved you before you got broken up with. You know, and he loved you before you went out partying and went doing all these things you feel guilty for. He loved us before we were even born. Yeah. So our season is coming up. You know, we are going to set this world on fire for Jesus, if you want to, if you choose to. So choose Jesus. Choose to have a relationship and put an effort into that relationship with him. And don't listen to lies about who you are and your self-worth, because that is going to stop you from going forward in the Lord. Amen. So never, ever stop trying in this relationship with Jesus, because he loves all of you, and so do I. So thank you so much.